Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to take a little deep dive into some makeup brushes. So these are the What's Up Beauty eyeshadow brushes. I have 12 of them, which I believe is the whole range. They do sell their brushes individually and they also sell them in sets of 6. So they sent me both sets of 6 with their new Dragon's Eye palette. I have already reviewed the palette and I wanted to review the brushes. I wanted to go in depth, have a chat about them, because buying makeup, I feel like for a lot of people, buying makeup brushes, especially if you're like just getting into makeup and you're trying to work out like what's good and you don't really have any information to work from, then you might find it a little bit overwhelming. So all of these brushes are available on the What's Up Beauty website, and like I mentioned, they sell them in sets of 6 or individually. If you buy them individually, they're $23 each. If you buy them in sets, they're $124.20. So that works out to $20.70 per brush. So you are saving a little bit of money, and I will mention that's in US dollars. Now, what I love about the What's Up Beauty buying experience is they have so much information on their website about their brushes. When you look at the description of one of the brush sets, they list all of the brushes that are included along with the length of the hair in both inches and millimeters. This is information that some of the most luxury and well-known brushes or brush creators or brush brands do provide on their website, but also some of the most luxury, well-made, expensive brush brands on the market don't provide. And I think when you are spending a lot of money on a makeup brush, you can really look at it and be like, well, what am I even buying here? And if the information isn't available to you on the website, then you are going in blind. So I love that they put the effort in to give you, the buyer, as much information as they can, which allows you to buy with confidence, especially when it comes to buying brushes online without being able to see them in store. That can be a bit nerve-wracking. So I love that they offer a good amount of information. Now, when the brushes are shipped to you, they will come in a box like this. There is a lot of information on there. There's a QR code that shows you how to take care of the brush. On the top of the box, it tells you the name of the brush, the number of the brush, and the composition of the hair. So it's either going to be a goat hair or it's going to be a goat and synthetic hair. When you open this box up, you're going to be faced with this. When you open it though, you pull that part out, your brush is going to be in here. Really nice and safe. This is a foam protective sleeve. It's going to protect your brush. There's going to be absolutely no damage in transit. Of the 12 brushes, 3 of them are a synthetic and goat hair blend, whereas the rest are just goat hair. Those 3 brushes are that's the R11, we've got the R101 and the R12. So it's actually the 3 smallest brushes in the range. There you go. Now, the reason why brush hairs or hairs in a brush may be a blend of like a natural fiber and a synthetic fiber is typically because they're often used with, or they're best used with, creams. And I'm not saying that you can't use these with powders. It's just that like these cuts you probably would find yourself using with creams quite a bit. I'll get into, you know, how you might use these in a little bit. We'll go through each brush individually. But when you are using a cream with a brush that has natural hairs in it, they say that you should not use a 100% natural hair brush with creams and liquids because it can damage the hairs. You can kind of get away with that a little bit as long as you're careful about what you're doing and you look after the brush. But a blend of natural hair and synthetic makes it a bit safer for the brush, so to speak, to use them with liquids and creams. You're less likely to like damage the structure of the brush or the brush hairs if there is a blend in there and you're using them with liquids and creams. Okay, let's go through all of these brushes individually. So we have the R101. This is one of the synthetic and natural hair blends, which I just showed you. Fantastic for applying product to your like lower lash line. It's got a really nice small point. You can also use this for applying like a smoky wing or blending out eyeliner on your upper lash line to smoke it out if you want. Really good for detail work as well. Get into that inner corner, especially if you have small eyes. Really nice little brush. The R102, this is a goat hair brush and it is a small skinny blending brush with pretty long hairs, which I quite like. It's firm without being like stiff or spiky. In fact, all of these brushes are, so I'll just get that out of the way right now. It does have some nice movement, but also that firmness and densely packed hair structure is going to actually help to move product on your eyes. Here is the R103. So this is another blending brush. I'm also going to go into the R104 here, and I just want to show you these three blending brushes side by side so you can see their size difference. So 102, 103, 104 right there. So really good like size selection. If you've got small lines or you're doing detail work, you've got the smaller one on this side. And then if you're doing more like large sweepy work or really diffused work, you've got the larger one there. And the one in the middle is what I would consider a standard size for a blending brush, which you will see time and time again, and you probably own so many of. What I do like about the R104, and I hope you can see it a little bit there, it does have a really nice tapered tip, which is fantastic. Next we have the 105 brush. This is kind of a hybrid between a blending brush and a flat like shading brush. I would consider this like a one and done brush for a simple eye look. You can literally pick up a matte eyeshadow in this, tap it all over the eyelid, and then turn it on a different angle and use it as a blender. Really good if you're traveling and you know that you're just going to create a really simple eye look. You can see how it goes from thin to thicker, and that is just because of the hair structure. I will bring in the 103 here, which I said was, you know, the standard size for a blending brush. And if I rotate them, you can see how the 105, or sorry, the 103 here, it's round all the way around. Like there's no change in the brush shape, whereas the 105, it does have that thinner angle and then a flatter angle. But the sizes of the hair is very similar. The 103 is a little bit longer, but that doesn't make too much of a difference. The 106 is a flat shading brush, which you can see there. So this one is wide and quite flat. The bristles are fairly short, which gives it fantastic structure. Really good for picking up product and laying it down, so good for shimmery and sparkly eyeshadows. Next we have an R107. This is another pencil brush, which is round all the way around. Nice structure. I will compare it to the small pencil brush so you can see the difference in the bristle sizes. Look, to be completely fair, these can be used for the same job. This one is, you know, still quite small, good size. You can get under there and, you know, blend out your lower lash line. You can work on your inner corner. You could create a wing or smoke a wing. You could use it to, like, you know, fill in any patchiness. It's really just going to be your preference of, you know, what brush you wanted to go for. I tend to reach for this one a bit more often because I have smaller eyes which means that the smaller the brush, the more precision I have, and the more precision I have, the more control I have, and the less likely I am to make mistakes when I've got like one eye closed and I'm trying to do, you know, a small detailed job. So it's really going to come down to you. If you have much larger eyes, you might actually find that this smaller one is too tedious and you only want to use it to like smoke out a wing or something. But if you're doing other work around the eye, you might prefer the larger pencil brush. But I like them both and I have used them both. This one is the R108 and it is a tiny little blending brush. So you can see there, she's round all the way around. The hairs are quite small and they've got really good structure. It is like a firm brush, but again, not pokey or sticky or stabby. The hairs are very, very soft and good quality. I will compare this to the other blending brushes so you can see the size differences. So there they are. I will definitely say, as someone with small eyes, I appreciate that brands are including these smaller cuts of blending brushes in their ranges more and more these days, because like larger brushes and even the standard size blending brushes, when you do have smaller eyes, there is only so much that you can do with these. But also in saying that, if you have larger eyes, there is only so much that you can do with these smaller brushes as well, and you really need to have these nice big ones in your arsenal. So I love that they included this in the second brush set. It's fantastic. This one here is the R109 and it is a domed eyeshadow brush. This, okay, look, I'm gonna say this is a goat hair brush, 100% goat hair. I actually love these cuts for applying a crying. My God, yes, I feel like a crying. It's hot and I'm tired. These brushes are so good for applying creams and liquids to the eye. I have done that several times with this, and look, it's held up really well. These brushes have all been washed. I know they look spotless, so if you're doubting that I've even tried them, have no fear. I washed them specifically to film this review and also to see how they hold up with washing, and it's come up beautiful. A lot of people say you shouldn't use your natural hair brushes for applying creams and liquids because it can stain the hair, it can damage the hair, all that jazz. But look, in my experience, as long as you are being careful with what you're doing and you don't leave the brushes to sit for too long after using liquids and creams on them, and you wash them and dry them very well and carefully, you're not going to have any issues. And I've been using this to apply primer and cream eyeshadows, and it is beautiful. So you can see that like the brush itself has good width to it, so it's a good size for laying product down, but it's also small enough to then like go into the crease and the edges of your eyeshadow and blend it out. And because the hairs are quite short, they've got good structure, which means that they move product really well. But also these hairs aren't really densely packed, which in my experience can sometimes make these brushes like leave little streaks in the hairs. I feel like this diffuses product really nicely. I love this brush. If you own these brushes and you know you're like, no, cannot use them for creams or liquids, try it out. Just make sure you look after them. Like I said, don't leave them sitting with wet product on them for weeks on end. They can grow mold. Okay, last few brushes. We've got the R10 here, which is another flat shading brush. And if I grab the other one that we looked at earlier, you'll be able to see the size difference, and you can probably tell why it's relevant to have two brushes like this. This smaller one is obviously going to offer you more control. Could you imagine taking this brush and trying to apply product to your inner corner? No ma'am, that's where you want this one. You want to get in there and apply a little bit of product and blend it out. So they're really nice. I reach for this one more simply because of the size of my eyes, whereas this one, you know, she's quite big. So this one is my preference, but it's only because of my eye shape or eye size. Next, we have the R11. So this is another little shading brush, but this is your itty bitty baby one. So fantastic. If you want to apply highlight to the inner corner, you can also use it to highlight your brows. You can use it to apply product on your lower lash line, and you can see the differences in sizes there. This is one of the goat hair and synthetic blends. And then we have the R112. So this one is a like rectangular square flat brush. They call it a flat eyeliner brush, and yes, you can absolutely use this to apply a wing liner. You can use it to press product into like the base of your lashes. You can even do it under here and tight line. You can apply product to your waterline with a brush like this, and even along your lower lash line. Brushes like this are really good for getting product in between your actual lash hairs, which can add so much beautiful definition to your eyes and is actually quite difficult to do without a brush. So if you were to take an eyeliner pencil and try to work that product onto the skin, but in between your lash hairs, not just below it or on your waterline, it's quite difficult to do without literally getting product all over your actual lashes. And that's where brushes like this come in, because it can be stamped in there and then just wiggled back and forward, and you can get product right on the skin in between the lashes. It's a fantastic little tool, and if you play around with different techniques with this, you can very easily discover that this brush has a multitude of good uses that other brushes simply cannot achieve. My overall experience with these brushes has been fantastic. It is what I would expect from a good quality brush. They're made from an uncut and undyed or unbleached goat hair, which means they're really lovely and soft. Because they're uncut, you're not going to get any like sharp pokey edges that are going to stab you when you go into like blend. They pick up and put down product really well. They blend well. I love a natural hair brush. You guys know this. And I wouldn't say I'm a brush snob, but also maybe I am a bit of a brush snob. It's my preference. A natural hair brush is my preference. And I am pretty critical about them when it comes to quality. And there's certain things that I look for that are important to me. One is a good range of brush cuts, and the softness and denseness of the hairs is really important. They've ticked all of the boxes there. I also like to make sure that they wash really well. So like I said, I did wash all of these after using them. Every single brush except for, these three and this one, which I'll talk about in a sec, went into brush guards. And a brush guard is like a little plastic sleeve that goes over them to hold the hairs in place while they dry, and it maintains the structure and the shape of a brush. These guys are really small, and because they also contain synthetic hairs, they don't need that as much. But all you want to do is like get all of the excess moisture off them, and then like make sure that they're in shape. You want to make sure there's no hairs like sticking out anywhere or doing anything weird, and they will just dry like that. So they're fantastic. Now this one, which is the R103, I didn't put this one into a brush guard, because when you are talking about natural hair brushes, sometimes if the hair is not good quality, or if it's been dyed or bleached or something like that, it can make the hairs really like bleh. I've seen that a lot with like Morphe natural hair brushes. Some of them are just woeful. So if we look at these two brushes here, which are the blending brushes, the larger ones, we've got the R104, which is a big one here, the R103. This one went into a brush guard, and you can see that the structure of it is perfect. It's nice and tight. It's like it's brand spanking new. The R103 is a little bit more splayed out. That is completely normal if you don't put a brush in a brush guard, especially a blending brush like this. Now, if I had put this in a brush guard, it would be tight and all pulled together like this. But why I didn't put this in a brush guard was because I was looking to see how those hairs look after it's dried naturally on its own. And as you can see, we don't have any hairs like sticking out here. Like with a bad quality hair, you will get little hairs sticking all out at the side and they will just look jagged and raggedy. If you don't have brush guards, all you have to do, like I mentioned, is get as much of the excess moisture as you can out of the brush. Use like a paper towel or a terry toweling cloth just to give it a squeeze and get the moisture out, and then put the brush into the shape that you want while it's wet. Lay it down flat and allow it to dry. Don't touch it until it is completely dry, and you will get a beautiful, you know, nicely structured. It looks basically brand new. If you do have a brush guard, you can pop it in there and they come out absolutely gorgeous. Now, on the website, they do have some more information about how these brushes are made. So they are supplied, the hair is supplied from a cruelty-free sources. The handle is made from hornbeam wood, which sounds like something you find in Harry Potter. All the hair is glued into the ferrule, which is this part here. When hairs are glued into a ferrule, it means that they're less likely to fall out. And in saying that, I've had no fallout from these brushes, which is fantastic. I have had some extremely expensive natural hair brushes that still shed to this day. The bigger the brush, the more likely that is to be a problem, but with these guys, I haven't experienced that and I love it. This part here, which is called the ferrule, it is made from brass and it is crimped here where it meets the handle. It's double crimped, which means that this part should never come loose or fall off. That is another thing that I have had happen with some extremely expensive brushes, and it is infuriating. And they are also handmade, which is very common for Japanese brushes, which these are. I'm really impressed with the What's Up Beauty brushes, and I think they're a very reasonable price for a well-made, good quality natural hair brush. I think the price point of $23 as an individual brush, or $20 and a few cents for the brushes when they're purchased in a set is, you know, probably pretty standard. Oh, my boyfriend has started talking to friends. I need to wrap this up. So I love them. I think they're fantastic. And I think, you know, if you are curious about What's Up brushes, you're like, are they good quality? Are they not? I don't think you'll be disappointed. They are very nice quality. They're a reasonable price. They look great. And there's a fantastic range of shapes in there. I will say, when you're looking at, like if you go on their website and you're looking up the brushes and you're looking at the sets, so the first set on the website is designed, like that was the first one they put out, it's designed for larger eyes, or they're more standard brush sizes, whereas the second one is they're smaller brushes. So if you wanted one over the other, you can certainly get that, but if you want both, all of the cuts are fantastic, and as someone with small eyes, I've used them all and found them all useful, and I will certainly use them again in the future. So I am going to leave that there. I want to say a massive thank you to What's Up Beauty for sending me these brushes. I had a really good time using them, and I'm very happy with the quality of them. I also want to say a massive thank you to my channel members. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate you all for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Do all those things that make YouTube happy. It also helps me out. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.